Good morning, class. Welcome to chapter 4.6, quick graphs using slope-intercept form. So far we've graphed equations using a table where I was giving you values, -1, 0, 1, -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. And then you'd find the y. And then you'd plot those points and you'd have your line. Then we moved on to the x and y intercepts, where you'd find the x by plugging 0 in for y, and then you'd find the y by plugging 0 in for x, plot those 2 points, and then connect the dots. So today you're going to use slope-intercept form. And again, we used slope-intercept form a little bit yesterday, and we know that the equation for slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Is written in slope-intercept form. The slope of the line is m, which we talked about yesterday, and now this is the new information. The y-intercept is b. Okay, the y-intercept is b. So what does that mean? We know that this is the x-axis, this is the y-intercept. We know by plugging in 0 for x, so if I plugged in 0, we know y equals 3. Now we get that. If we write our equation in slope-intercept form, we automatically get that as our answer. So what does that mean? That means that is where it crosses the y-axis. So, looking at slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, we can see here that our m is 2 and our b is 3. So, writing equations in slope-intercept form. The most important thing that we understand is slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So when we're solving anything in slope-intercept form, we have to make sure first that the y is isolated all by itself. Okay? So, looking at number 1 here, y equals negative x plus 2. The y is alone. It is isolated by itself. So my m for this equation would be -1 over 1. And my b would be 2. We're not graphing them yet. We're just identifying our m and our b. So y equals -4. My m is 0, because we know that this is a horizontal line. And my b is -4. And 3, y is not alone here. So we first have to solve that. So I'm going to move this over here. So if we have 2x minus 4y equals 16, we're going to subtract 2x. So -4y equals -2x plus 16. And this is the key thing now. When you divide by -4, we're going to divide both terms now by -4. I know in a table, when we graphed using a table, we kind of left it in this form here. Okay, we left the denominator over both terms at the top in the numerator. So now, when I divide by that -4, I'm going to take it to both, and I'll show you why later. But y equals a positive 1/2 now, x minus 4. So our m is 1/2 and our b is -4. Okay, so again, when you're dividing the coefficient that's in front of the y, you're going to take that to both of the terms. Okay, so for example, in number 4 here, if you're given a problem like that, you're going to actually divide the coefficient in front of the x, and then you're going to divide the 3 by the 2. So our true answer here is y equals 1/2 x plus 3 over 2. Or you could say y equals 1/2 x plus 1.5 or 1 1/2. For y-intercept form, or slope-intercept form, sorry, your m I would always leave in fraction form. And I'll show you why in a second. Your b, you can leave as a fraction, but you actually will turn it back into a decimal, because we know that this is our y-intercept. Okay? So the first step is always to make sure it's in slope-intercept form, meaning that the y is isolated by itself before you can start figuring out what your m or your b is. So let's graph using slope and y-intercept. So graph the equation 3x plus y equals 2. So step 1, write the equation in slope-intercept form. So we know that it's not in slope-intercept form yet because y is not by itself. So we're going to subtract 3x to both sides. So we get y equals negative 3x plus 2. Now, step 2, find the m and the b. I know my m is negative 3. And I know my b is 2. So step 3 says plot the b. So we know that when b equals 2, our ordered pair is 0, 2. It's where it crosses the y-axis. So 0, 2 right there. We plot our point. So, wrote it in slope-intercept form, identified our m and our b. I plotted the b. Now use the m to find your next point. So this is the important part. Our m, remember, is negative 3. And remember, m truly stands for rise over run. And remember, we're reading this graph from left to right. So really this is saying m equals negative 3 over 1. So we know from left to right, negative 3, I know my line will be going in this direction. Okay? So how do I find this next point using it? Well, I'm going to use that little triangle thing I did on the board yesterday to kind of show you. So we're going to go down 3, 1, 2, and 3, and then over 1. So that would be my next point right there. Okay, so we have this triangle. We fell 3 and over 1 because I know that this is going to be a negative line. And then I'm going to draw my line right through those 2 points. So that's the graph of my line. Okay, so watch this again if you need to see it again. Okay, but we're going to do another example, so relax. So step 1, make sure it's in y equals mx plus b form. So add 2x to both sides. Y equals 2x plus 5. So identify my m, which is 2 over 1, and my b is 5, which my ordered pair is 0, 5. So here's my point right here. Here's the 5. So now look at my m. It's 2 over 1. It's positive, so I know my line will be going in this direction here. So I'm going to go up 2. I'm going to rise 2. And I'm going to go over 1. And there's my point right there. And then there's my line. Okay, so this slope tells you a lot of information. It tells you the direction of the line. Okay, whether it's increasing or decreasing from left to right. Okay, and then you got to move using the triangle. Use the rise over run. Remember what m equals rise over run. Okay, or you could really say fall. Okay, rise or fall over run. That's really known as rise over run. Okay, now what I was talking about before, let's go back to this equation right here. Y equals 1/2 x minus 4. So if I go down to negative 4, okay, that's my starting point, that's my b, and my m is 1/2. 1/2 now is rise over run. So I'm going to rise 1, and I'm going to go over 2. So my next point would be right there. So rise 1 over 2. So that's why you want to leave it in fraction form. Rise over run. Top number you'll rise, bottom number you'll run. Or the top number you'll fall if it's a negative slope, and then you'll run that many. Okay? And here's your homework. Write 3x plus 4y equals 8 in slope-intercept form. Then identify the slope and y-intercept. Then graph that equation 3x plus 4y equals 8. Okay, if you have any questions, please email me. Hope you have a wonderful evening. Take care.